The next chapter is chapter 3, class 7th, subject social studies, geography, chapter name Our Changing Earth. Our Changing Earth. In this chapter, we will study about the earth movements. So, the earth movements are divided on the basis of forces that are endogenic forces, and the second one is exogenic forces. Now, what is exogenic forces? So, exogenic refers to external processes and the phenomena that occur on or above the Earth's surface, like weathering effects and erosion, are exogenic processes. Next is endogenic forces. So, the term endogenic refers to the internal processes and phenomena that occur beneath the Earth's surface or any other celestial body, like earthquakes and volcanoes, are the endogenic processes. Now, what is volcano? So, a volcano is an opening or rupture in a planet's surface or crust which allows hot molten rock, ash, and gases to escape from below the surface. The word volcano is derived from Italian volcano, after Vulcan, the Roman god of fire. Earthquakes. When the lithospheric plates move, the surface of Earth vibrates. The vibrations can travel all around the Earth. These vibrations are called earthquakes. An earthquake is the result of a sudden release of energy in the Earth crust that creates seismic wave. Earthquakes are recorded with a seismometer, also known as. Question is how earthquakes are formed. So, the place in the crust where the movement starts is called the focus. The plate on the surface above the focus is called the epicenter. The vibration travel outwards from the epicenter as waves. The greatest damage is usually closest to the epicenter, and strength of the earthquake decreases away from the center. Next part is landforms. So, the major landforms are weathering and erosion. Is weathering. So, weathering is the breaking up of the rocks on the Earth's surface. Now, what is erosion? So, erosion is the removal of solids in the natural environment. It is usually occurs due to transport by wind, water, or ice. Now, the next part is rivers. So, the features of rivers are waterfall, meanders, oxbow lake, flood plain, levees, and delta. Waterfall. A waterfall is a place where flowing water rapidly drops in elevation as it flows over a steep region or a cliff. Meanders. The rivers enters the plain, it twists and turns, forming large bends known as meanders. Oxbow lake. An oxbow lake is a U-shaped body of water formed when a wide meander from the main stem of a river is cut off to create a lake. This landform is called an oxbow lake for the distinctive curved shape that results from this process. Flood plains. When rivers overflows its banks, it leads to the flooding of the neighboring areas. As it floods, deposits layer of the fine soil and other materials called sediments along its banks. This leads to the formation of flood plain. The raised banks are called levees. As the river approaches the sea, the speed of the flowing water decreases and the river begins to break up into a number of streams called distributaries. Delta. A delta is a landform that is created at the mouth of the river, where that river flows into an ocean, sea, estuary, lake, reservoir, flat, arid area, or another river. Deltas are formed from the depositions of the sediments carried by the rivers as flows leaves the mouth of the river. Part is sea, and the features made by the sea waves are sea caves, sea arches, stack, sea cliff. Sea caves. A sea cave, also known as the littoral cave, it is a type of a cave formed primarily by wave action of the sea. The primary process involved in this erosion. Sea arches. When sea caves become bigger and bigger, only the roof of the caves remain, then form sea arches. Stacks. Erosion breaks the roof and only walls are left. These wall-like features are called stacks. Sea cliff. The steep rocky coast rising almost vertically above sea level is called sea cliff. The sea waves deposit sediments along the shores, forming beaches. Part is ice, and the features of ice are glaciers and the glacial monasteries. Glaciers. A glacier is a large mass of the ice moving slowly over some land surface or down a valley, formed over long period from the accumulation of snow in the area where the amount of snow that falls exceeds the amount that melts. Glacier moraines. The material carried by the glacier, such as rocks, big and small sand and still get deposited. These deposits form. What is the wind? And the features of wind are mushroom rocks, sand dunes, and loess. Mushroom rocks. An active agent of erosion and deposition of the desert is wind. In deserts, rocks is the shape of a mushroom, commonly called mushroom rocks. Dunes. When the wind blows, it flips and transports sand from one place to another. When it stops blowing, the sand falls and get deposited in a low hill-like structures called sand dunes. When the grains of sand are very fine and light, the wind can carry over very long distances. When such sand is deposited in a large area, it is called loess. Large deposits of loess is found in China. Students, I hope you have understood this chapter very well. Now some question answers and activities are given here. Just go through and understand it. Another question is, what are exogenic and endogenic forces? So the answer is, the forces that act in the interior of the earth are called endogenic forces, and the forces that act on the Earth's surface are called exogenic forces. The third question is, what is erosion? The answer is, erosion is the wearing away of the landscape by different agents like water, wind, and ice. Question number 4 is, how are floodplains formed? When the river outflow their banks, they cause flood in the neighboring area. The flood water takes away fine soil, another material, and deposits them along the bank, and the deposition leads to the formation of flood plains. The next question is, what are sand dunes? Winds lift and carry sand from one place to another. When they stop blowing, the sand falls and gets deposited in low hills like structures called sand dunes. Another question is, how are beaches formed? So the sea waves deposits sediments along the shores, which leads to the formation of beaches. Question number 7 is, what are oxbow lake? So the answer is, when a river enters the plain, it forms a large bend which is cut off. Stream is due course of time. The cut off stream take the form of lake called oxbow lake. Question number 2 is, tick the correct answer. So the questions and just below the answers are given here. So just go through these questions and understand the answers. The first question is, which is not an erosional features of the sea? And the correct answer is cliff. Second question is, the depositional features of the glacier is, that is moraine. The third question is, which is caused by the sudden movements of the earth? The answer is volcano. Next is, the mushroom rocks are found in, it is found in deserts. And the fifth question is, oxbow lakes are found in river valleys. Question number 3 is, match the following. So here you can see the questions and just below the answers given. So just go through the question and answer and understand it. Third part is the question number 4, give reasons. So the first question is, some rocks have a shape of mushroom. Why? The answer is, in desert, wind is an active agent for erosion which erode the lower section of the rock more than the upper part. Therefore, some rocks have a shape of mushroom having narrower base and wider top. The another question is, flood plains are very fertile. Why? So the flood plains are very fertile because floods deposits layer of the fine soil and other material called sediments, which is ideal for cultivations along its banks. The third question is, sea caves are turned into stacks. Why? So the answer is, when cavities in sea caves become bigger and bigger, only the roof of the cave remains, forming sea arches. Further, erosion breaks the roof and only walls are left, which forms the stacks. And the question number 4 is, buildings collapse due to the earthquakes. The answer is, during earthquakes, vibration travels outwards from the epicenter as waves and propagate through the surface of the earth, which produce sudden movement that leads to the collapse of the buildings. The another question is, solve the crossword puzzles with the help of the given clues. So across the questions are given here and down questions are given, and the correct answers are given below. So just read each questions and find the answers from the given answer. So dear students, I hope you have understood this chapter very well. So read and understand this chapter, revise the question answers and other exercises. Stay at home. Thank you.